One of the individuals that really made an impact on me and really discipled me in my walk was Dick Hart. Dick Hart was an elder here at Maple Avenue Christian Church. I worked with Dick at the hospital. He really taught me the significance of witnessing, being bold without hindrance. I loved how he would use that phrase. Let's be bold and without hindrance in discipling and witnessing to other people. Nothing held Dick back. I learned from him that I need to be bold and without hindrance in sharing my faith with others. As I've been growing in my witnessing, sometimes we struggle with, okay, how do we start that conversation? How do we share Christ with someone else? Initially, witnessing to someone can be you can have some anxiety with that. How are they going to look at me in the future? Do they not agree with me? Do they think I'm crazy for saying this? My students know about my faith. I'm very open about that. But something that I do many times, I will have students, and of course they're probably trying to keep me from starting class, but they will ask questions, what are your plans for the weekend? Or what did you do this weekend? And anytime I've asked that question, I always say something about the worship service that I attended. And I just wait for that student to say, well, what church do you attend? That's opened my door. And now I can start talking about, what church I attend, and many times that starts a conversation. Lots of students come to my office and just things in their life, tragedies. They're struggling with relationships. They know with my faith that that's a safe place that they can come and we can talk. And in my years out here, I have never once, when I've asked a student, before you go, can I pray with you? I've never had a student say no to that. They've always, 100%, have said yes. A few years ago, I was standing in the front of the worship center at Maple Avenue, and I was visiting with 2 or 3 people. And there was a young man, looked like he was probably college age, walked up the side aisle and walked directly up to me, and he said, I don't know you and you don't know me, but he said, God told me to come up here and ask you to pray with me. Absolutely, that's a divine appointment. So I prayed with him, and he was very emotional. And I could tell that something traumatic was going on in his life. And through the entire worship service, all I could think of is this young man is hurting. And is there anything that I can do to help? And when I stood up at the end for anyone to come up to pray, I watched as he walked out the back door. And I thought, I've lost my chance. I don't know if we'll ever see this gentleman again. And before I know it, the center door of the aisle opened, and he walked right up the aisle and came up and gave me a big hug. And he said, I'm hurting. He was involved with some things that ultimately led to him being arrested and ultimately going to prison. And we continued our conversations through visits and through letters, just encouraging him to be strong in his faith and discipling him as he was trying to be a positive influence, a Christ-like influence in prison. And he has since been released, and he's doing great things for the kingdom. He's involved with the church, he's on their worship team, he's on fire for Jesus. And it's just fun to see where he has come from and where he is now in his walk. This is not original with me. I will give all credit to Barry Reed when he was director of Campus Students for Christ. Scripture tells us to go out and to make disciples. And it is such a unique situation to live in Macomb, Illinois, because instead of us having to go to the ends of the earth to witness, we have the entire earth coming to us in Macomb, Illinois. We have such a large international base. We have 7,000 students that many of them need Jesus. And for us to have an opportunity for these students that we can engage with in restaurants, at Walmart, walking around the square, we have great opportunities to share the gospel. I hear that we have international students that they long to have somebody, an American family, invite them into their home. They just want to see the inside of a home in the USA. That's pretty easy. Those are easy things that we can be doing. And if you build those relationships, I mean, that opens that door for us to share Jesus with them. If I could tell someone one thing about witnessing, not to be discouraged. Be encouraged that you were bold and without hindrance.